ยั่งยืนและสมกับคนบ้าข่าวด้วยกันครับขอบคุณทุกท่านที่ติดตามสุทธิชัยไลฟ์ครับล่าสุดนี่มีคนกด subscribe กดกระดิ่ง 1.2 ล้านท่านแล้วครับตัวเลขเพิ่มขึ้นไปเรื่อยๆและต้องขอบคุณเป็นพิเศษสำหรับผู้ที่กด Super Stickers Super Chat เพื่อให้กำลังใจกับทีมงานสุทธิชัยไลฟ์จะได้อยู่กันยาวๆยั่งยืนและสมกับคนบ้าข่าวด้วยกันครับขอบคุณทุกท่านที่ติดตามสุทธิชัยไลฟ์ครับล่าสุดนี่มีคนกด subscribe กดกระดิ่ง 1.2 ล้านท่านแล้วครับตัวเลขเพิ่มขึ้นไปเรื่อยๆและต้องขอบคุณเป็นพิเศษสำหรับผู้ที่กด Super Stickers Super Chat เพื่อให้กำลังใจกับทีมงานสุทธิชัยไลฟ์จะได้อยู่กันยาวๆยั่งยืนและสมกับคนบ้าข่าวด้วยกันครับขอบคุณทุกท่านที่ติดตามสุทธิชัยไลฟ์ครับล่าสุดนี่มีคนกด subscribe กดกระดิ่ง 1.2 ล้านท่านแล้วครับตัวเลขเพิ่มขึ้นไปเรื่อยๆและต้องขอบคุณเป็นพิเศษสำหรับผู้ที่กด Super Stickers Super Chat เพื่อให้กำลังใจกับทีมงานสุทธิชัยไลฟ์จะได้อยู่กันยาวๆยั่งยืนและสมกับคนบ้าข่าวด้วยกันครับขอบคุณทุกท่านที่ติดตามสุทธิชัยไลฟ์ครับล่าสุดนี่มีคนกด subscribe กดกระดิ่ง 1.2 ล้านท่านแล้วครับตัวเลขเพิ่มขึ้นไปเรื่อยๆและต้องขอบคุณเป็นพิเศษสำหรับผู้ที่กด Super Stickers Super Chat เพื่อให้กำลังใจกับทีมงานสุทธิชัยไลฟ์จะได้อยู่กันยาวๆยั่ง Welcome to Suthichai Live English tonight so many stories political developments that we should discuss and I'm happy Kun Suranan Vechachiwa is here so that we can delve into some of the most interesting topics discussed today among the politicians สวัสดีครับคุณสุรนันท์
ครับสวัสดีครับ Good evening ครับคุณสุทธิชัยครับ
evening wow
I barely can explain the phenomenon in Thai I don't know if I will survive in English so I mean the audience probably have to live
I know I have
to understand us too
I have the same problem of trying to find the right English words to describe some of the things for example let me just cite it from the very beginning Kun Thaksin Chinawat said in responding to a question by a reporter is that are you crop numb crop numbing your daughter was the prime minister or the party
dominating
right? Crop numb dominates right but he said no not crop numb crop krong because she's my daughter crop krong is even worse than crop numb in Thai
crop krong is ownership
you take possession
yeah right? It's not even father-daughter relationship but ownership
so
right? Basically you can interpret that he owns of course not his daughter but the prime ministership
yeah
it's up to interpretation
no maybe he was trying to make it funny
yes I think he's putting on a kind of a joke at the end so he could avoid answering that question because if he is appeared to be dominating the political process then he will have another court case on his hands
or many court cases but then if we listen to what he said today in a long interview on covering all topics then don't you think that it was actually in effect dominating Thai politics
no I thought when I watched it I thought he was prime minister he is still prime minister
he is still the prime minister
and Suthichai to give him credit because he has passed through all this before
yes
I think he understands the issue very well it's the first time I really listened to 2 minutes of him explaining the digital wallet and I fully understand what digital wallet is I mean I've been listening to the past government for a year
right
and no one can really condense it into a few sentences for people to understand I think Kun Thaksin because he knew the project
Yeah.
and he understands how to communicate.
Yeah.
Now, so he explained the digital wallet very well, and he also leaves room to say that maybe, you know, some of the parts have to be delayed. Some of the parts have to be done later, like the computer, the digital part and thing.
Right. Right.
But he still gives hope for the people that, you know, you're gonna get your 10,000 baht one way or another.
Uh-huh.
So
Which means,
that, I mean, that I think his experience, and he always have a knack for a good PR and understands what will bring the headlines.
mm-hmm.
But is he the right person? I mean, should this be the prime minister's job?
Right.
That is another reason, right?
The Prime Minister, Kun Paetongtarn, is not in a position to elaborate on that project because she never was really involved herself.
But she's the head of or the leader of Thai party, and this is their main political thrust. With some practice, I'm sure she could explain.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, I mean, explaining something sometimes doesn't mean that you really have to know all the nuts and bolts of the policy, but you have to understand the general concept.
Mm-hmm.
I think, for example, Kun Thaksin understand the general concept.
Because it's his idea. We all know
Yes.
from him, even former Prime Minister Sethar was not in a position to explain this very well. And then it was up to Kun Paupung, was Deputy Finance Minister, to trying to explain it. And I think he was assigned to explain the digital side of it, the technology part
He's
of
too
it.
academic too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's very green to this political explanation and way to communicate. So he dreams up all this, you know, the whole storm, the whole what you call hurricane.
Yeah.
I think Kun Chulapan did a better job, but Kun Chulapan, being an experienced MP and been in politics for a while, was very careful in his words because he knew that, you know, if he misstep or decide something in a matter that will get him into court cases and wrongdoing, so he was he was too careful in explaining. I mean, Chulapan is also the chairman of the Bank of Agriculture and the Cooperatives.
Right.
So he was very conscious of what he's doing, and he was very cautious of trying to explain the steps. So it couldn't be just, I mean, if you go back and listen to Kun Thaksin today, you understand what digital wallet is.
What is your understanding of it?
I think Kun Thaksin, the way that he explained it is, of course, is, you know, to put money into the system and stimulate the economy. But he explained the digital part, that it will be a kind of a new technology where government can interact
with the
with
people.
the people, and it's basically a blockchain idea, you know, where you can use this as another instrument. I think Kun Thaksin had this idea since he did the universal healthcare, the 30 baht. Right then, I mean, if you remember, Kun Thaksin was the one, the Thaksin government was the one who initiated the computer chips in your own identity cards, which are now taken for granted, right? Those chips are supposed to be actually more than just telling what who is Kun Suthichai Yun, but in an advanced program, when we're thinking that it will have all your medical records and you know what kind of programs or subsidies you should get from the government. But it didn't work out that way. I mean, and I think it might be the right decision because of the privacy laws, you know. But those chips are supposed to be, with one identity card, you're supposed to be able to get the universal healthcare, get and government will know who you are and communicate them with them. I mean, it's a bit. It used to be a work of science fiction, but in today's world, it's what you can avoid it. And Thaksin explain it in that way, which is a simple way for, I think, the new generation to understand. But right now, digital wallet has run into many legal problems. I think
I don't think Thaksin did enough homework on the legal.
yeah.
It was
And I think I always say this. I mean, I don't want to put any what you call saying bad things about ex-Prime Minister Sethar, but but he did try. He worked hard on it, but I think he was lucky. I mean, not lucky because he got that court decision, but he was lucky to get out of the game before he has to face all court cases
I know.
that are going to come with the digital wallet program if it's not done right. I mean,
blessing in disguise for him to lose the job.
Yeah, but I think he still wants to do it, and I hope he'll be a good what you call partner with Prime Minister Paetongtarn, because if you compare him to the current Prime Minister, although Paetongtarn has a fresh look and the young vibes of a 38-year-old lady, woman, I think Kun Sethar has more experience in the private sector, and has the management skills to. I mean, of course, not all the management skills of a public company can be transferred to become Prime Minister, but in a way, if you take out the political constraints that Kun Sethar has to find himself in, with his management skills in a normal political atmosphere, he could become a successful Prime Minister. Yeah. So I mean, if he could transfer that experience to Kun Paetongtarn and make Kun Paetongtarn grow, or politically mature, or technocratically mature in terms of managing the Thai technocrats.
But
it would be good for her. But it's difficult.
It is difficult, and we are running out of time because the current.
We don't have time, Kun Suthichai.
We don't.
That's not running out of time. You don't have time.
We have time. Yeah.
Yes. It's. I mean, there's a word in business, hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And they already crash landed with Kun Sethar, and now she has to regain. I mean, put Pheu Thai in through, even forming the government, which have problems today, and she had to take a sprint with it. And you have to run the sprint like running a marathon, because it's a long way. But she has to run a sprint to catch up with herself, with the policies, with people's expectations, which are now gone through the roof with all the economic hardship.
But then if you were Kun Thaksin, you would find it very difficult to balance between allowing the Prime Minister to shine and be on her own, at the same time to be able to solve all the urgent issues facing the government. And not to mention the fact that you have to very quickly convince the people that the Pheu Thai Party is back in business, that the Pheu Thai Party is now doing things for the poor people, regaining its popularity. So there's so many, things on the plate at the same time. And
at the national level.
At the national level, yes.
As a father, I think we both know how to distance ourselves from our child and let them grow them on their own, then mature. Of course, with all the concerns. But I mean, I have my daughter who's now a lawyer in California. and from the in high school, I know that you have to let her grow.
Right. Yeah.
Now that's a normal family in a way.
Right.
I mean, she have bad political experience because I was in the military camp for 7 days, and I was hiding in the hotel on the first coup, military camp on the second coup. So I don't think she have political ambitions.
No more. No more.
Still, I mean, you have to let her grow. But
Yeah.
as a normal person and a normal family,
Mhm.
they are protective. I mean, in this world, there are protective parents that protect their kids too much, and they couldn't grow them. They couldn't mature on their own. Now, Kun Thaksin have all the problems of a regular father,
Yeah.
which I think we understand.
Right.
That's her
Right.
daughter who loves his daughter very much. But on a national spotlight,
Yeah. Yeah.
how can you not undermine your daughter? I was thinking when you asked me to talk in English today, I was the word that pops up into my mind is undermine.
Undermine. Yeah.
Yes,
Undermine.
right? You cannot undermine your own daughter. She's the prime minister. Now, if Kun Thaksin acts out like this every day, giving interviews, explaining policies because he's frustrated that no one can do it,
Yeah.
and now he has to do it, then he would be undermining his own daughter's prime ministership,
And the
right?
whole cabinet. And the whole cabinet as
And the
well.
whole cabinet. I mean,
Mhm.
sorry to say this. I mean, I'm going to lose friends on this. I'm not too impressed with the whole cabinet
I
since
know.
the past year. There are certain shining stars, and I'm not saying this because I know them. I mean, I think for example, Kun Anutin Chanvirakul has matured a lot in a political position, and I think he's matured more than years that I know him. I mean, he's always been a nice guy, but now you can see that he, as an interior minister, he has grown. But that took years.
Yes.
Kun Anutin was he has a father who was a businessman and then in politics, so he saw the politics.
Right.
He came in as a deputy minister of health for Kun Thaksin, and then he built up his political career for the past 2 decades.
I know. I know.
Uh-huh.
Right. And he has grown in his job.
Yes,
Yeah. He's made.
understand the issue more and know when to say things. But Kun Paetongtarn didn't have that time,
No, not that.
not the growing time, right?
No. On the day that there was this royal ceremony to install Prime Minister Paetongtarn, and Kun Thaksin was, in his full white dress, uniform, sort of walked along with the Prime Minister. In fact, taking a few steps in advance, holding her hand. Some people said this is exactly like the father taking the daughter to school on the first day.
I was thinking a better one, I mean, giving your daughter away at the wedding.
Yeah, by the way.
but as you say, but he restrained himself. If you look at the whole procession, I see that finally he went into the line, into the where he was supposed to stand. And there are times that I worked with him. I mean, I have met him for a long time. I met him briefly at the funeral, but he seems to want to come up, but then he's kind of restrained himself. That is it's his daughter's show. It's not his show.
No, behave. It's like,
Yeah. It's his daughter's show, which is good.
yeah.
His daughter's show.
Yeah.
Uh, I think his daughter hit the right points, but it could be better prepared. But maybe she was excited and everything, especially the second speech, not the first speech that accepts the royal proclamation, but the second speech where she changed her dress, she changed out of the uniform, and then basically talked to the people of Thailand through the media. I thought that um,
Oh.
if she has a better briefing and understand the issues, she would be able to speak better. But at least she talk about, opening up the space for different ideas, and she's willing to listen.
Right.
I think that's the right approach. Certainly better than the speech when she attacked the Bank of Thailand. This is a much better speech and a more prime ministerial speech.
But critics would say that it was too general. It was sort of,
Yes. In this time and age, especially if she was, if it was last year and Pheu Thai just got elected and she became prime minister, I think this speech would be okay. But Pheu Thai has been a government for a year, and the whole party has to realize that their cabinet ministers were in the cabinet, including Kun Sethar, so her speech should be able to address more specific problems and direction which she would take this country. For example, even the digital wallet that we talk about, she should be able to say that, I'm gonna continue on this venture of stimulating the economy using this tool. But of course, with the different, the changing economic environment of the world and Thailand itself, maybe she would adjust certain things. But she would just say, no, we have to talk about it, which is too general.
And I think Kun Thaksin failed in this respect. He should have overseen the speech writing, the content. Because he knows that the first speech is very important.
Yes. Kun Thaksin has always been keen, very keen. And Kun Yingluck, I work with Kun Yingluck. He's very keen in, the speech, the wording. They always correct their own speeches.
Right.
And the thing that every leader should do, especially even in the States, they have to practice.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I don't think Paetongtarn did any real rehearsal before that one. And that the speech perhaps was written by one of her assistants, hoping that the catchwords would be there: young people, open-mindedness.
It got there, but
Yeah, but it wasn't impressive enough. She should make use of her youth and, get rid of her relationship with the father, but try to be on her own. Certain phrases that would represent her direction, but it didn't happen.
Well, there are people now comparing that, she has the same age as Kun Nattapong, the opposition leader.
Yeah,
and when you see Kun Nattapong speak, agree with him or not, but he is there, knowing the details and be able to speak, to communicate with the public what he wants to do or what he wants the public to understand. So she has a way to catch up.
I know. And if you were her advisor or her secretary, would you have advised her to respond to English questions live immediately, or would you have...
It's up to if you anticipate the questions, which you basically can anticipate the questions. So the answers could be, if you want to speak English, she could have written, they could have prepared together with the prime minister to a few simple sentences, a few sentences to answer. The foreign correspondents will ask about either Kun Thaksin, digital wallet, or what are you gonna see for the future of the country. There has to be a prepared text. Actually, Kun Suthichai knows. We politicians don't always answer the questions. we listen to your question and then we speak whatever we want to speak.
But that's a good tactic. That's good tactics, and I accept that politicians have the right. Politicians
Yeah,
have the right to not answer the question, but there must be some content that you offer the public.
but it's very hard, not having a prepared. I mean,
Very hard, very hard.
for English, which is not our first language. Even, seasoned politicians in America or in the States or in England, they always have a prepared text.
Really.
But you can off the cuff, you can comment more after that prepared answers or prepared text. Make a simple joke, make it more fun,
Right.
add some facts to make it natural. Those things have to be worked out. I think she's a fast learner from what I see. I don't know her very well, but from her appearance and even from last year to today, I think she has been proven as a fast learner. But I think she has to learn faster because when you're sitting chairing the cabinet,
Oh, yeah.
it could happen in 2 weeks. I mean, if they conclude everything this week, in 2 weeks, then she'll be sharing the cabinet.
Would you be surprised if Kun Thaksin appears in the cabinet meeting as an advisor?
Kun Thaksin is going to be difficult because he still have a case hanging over him.
Oh, but he's not going to have any official title. He's just my company.
Yeah, but then I mean, the people asked me too about comparing that with Kun Visnu Kriang,
Yeah.
which left the cabinet and then returned as a personal advisor to the Prime Minister Suthichai. Now, if Kun Thaksin is personal advisor to Kun Paetongtarn,
Right.
yeah, Kun Paetongtarn, I think, have the power to say that, basically speaking as a layman term, Kun Thaksin has to be on the mailing list, right?
Right.
But and if you remember Singapore, which is a different situation, we talked about Singapore before. When Lee Hsien Loong was prime minister, or even Goh Chok Tong, if I remember right, Lee Kuan Yew was there as senior minister.
Senior
So
minister.
it's a practice to help out. But Kun Thaksin is such a controversial person, right? It's going to be hard if he enters the cabinet room and certain levels of classified documents.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah. If you're not an official advisor, where you can be held accountable for your actions, it's gonna be he'll face other people going and submit petitions to the National Counter-Corruption Commission and all courts. How can you let Kun Thaksin in? I mean, he got flagged with wearing the white uniform.
Yeah, that also is unresolved whether he had a right.
I mean, if you read the regulation, it's wrong, but there is no no punishment. Stated there. So, so I mean, if he enters the cabinet room, then he will really undermine his daughter as prime minister.
But I heard from some people who had heard him say things before Paetongtarn's name was mentioned as the potential prime minister, were Kun Chekasem first.
Yes.
Then some people ask him, Kun Chekasem is not too well versed in politics, cabinet meetings. People heard him say, I will be his guardian angel. That's a good word. I think he could be thinking along the same line with Paetongtarn, that I would be your guardian angel.
And this is a natural guardian angel too, because he's the father. I mean, Kun Suthichai, you know Kun Thaksin. I mean, from different perspectives, I work with him, and
Yeah.
you there as a journalist and media that
Engage and
watch him all the time. I think you know that Kun Thaksin always test the boundaries,
push the envelope. Huh?
push the envelope, test the boundaries. If I can do this, then another step. That is a good instinct. If you're looking back that's why he became successful as a businessman, and even in politics. You know, he's always pushing. He when he falters, he rise up and then he push and
Pushes.
he tries. But then that in Thai politics, there are certain boundaries that you know you have to be careful. And the his fall from grace was one of those things that he touched. Now, third time around, the first time was him, the second time was Kun Yingluck, not counting Prime Minister Somchai Wongsuwat, his brother-in-law, or Kun Samak Sunthorawet, and Kun Sethha Thavisin. Then you know, I mean, right now, Kun Thaksin is probably in the mood of maybe testing the boundaries again.
Yeah. Very obvious. Today he said a lot of things that were pushing the limits.
Yes. And I think to not in a bad way, but I think Kun Thaksin, if I try to understand what Kun Thaksin is doing. I think if you have been going through like Kun Thaksin, like it or not, he, you know, fall from grace, got into all these corruption cases, and be able to come back. I think if I'm 75 and is as a status as Kun Thaksin, maybe he wants to be remembered better.
Yeah.
Have a good legacy. You know, I mean, there are example for example, Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad of Malaysia, who can come back as a prime minister at a very old age, and you know, kind of in the end, kind of reconcile with his main arch enemy, Anwar Ibrahim, and then be able to work together. And people will remember in a better light. You know, Kun Thaksin probably would like a better light on his legacy.
I think he's worried about his legacy.
I think he does, but then if you are an American president, for example, Richard Nixon, you know, left the White House not very well, but in the end, Richard Nixon's write his own memoirs, giving speeches and talk. I mean, the Democrats probably still hates him in that era, but everybody remember Watergate. But at the end, Richard Nixon was also considered one of the statesmen.
I know. Despite the Watergate,
yes, because in foreign policy, maybe with Henry Kissinger there and things like that, Nixon was the one who breaks the ground for a lot of things.
Well, he went to see Mao Zedong in China.
And then he was the one who left the gold standard. In 1972, and then you know. And if without Watergate, maybe of course he kind of lost the Vietnam War, but the Vietnam War was lost since the 60s.
All right.
So I mean, there are ways to restore your legacy. That's what I'm saying. I think Kun Thaksin have a lot to think about, and I think he wants his legacy to be remembered about his own. And if his daughter is successful in politics, then it would revive the Shinawatra family name in a better light. There's always going to be people who doubt him, and his enemies will always be there. You know, but you want to rewrite your own story, right?
Yeah, if you are in a position to rewrite it, otherwise other people will rewrite.
You have to be what you call the winner, write the history.
Yeah, Yes, the first. The other thing today was the very confusing situation in the coalition partners with General Prawit Wongsuwan and Kun Thamarat splitting up the party. And it seems to me Kun Thaksin was enjoying every minute of it.
This is we talked in a good light on Kun Thaksin, but I think there are gonna be problems ahead. And from the beginning, I think it's not only Palang Pracharat, right? I mean, with Kun Thamarat and General Prawit Wongsuwan, who actually, General Prawit Wongsuwan is the one that Kun Thaksin and the family knows even before Kun Prayut Chan-o-cha, because they were the one who promoted him to be army commander-in-chief and things like that. So the relationship goes back beyond even the past decade, where after the coup, right, in 2014. But now is Palang Pracharat breaking up, and I think as a outside political analyst like you, looks like there's a hand of Kun Thaksin in there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
It's a revenge against General Prawit, not only because of the senators who are close to General Prawit petition about Kun Sethar, but I think it's a long going feud. Yeah. But then not only that party, you have to look at the Democrats, which are now gonna have problems too, right?
Democrat was also been split.
And the seniors of the Democrat, Kun Chuan.
Oh, poor guy. Poor
course. Kun Chuan is not gonna be happy. It's not happy. I heard.
It's not at all.
But Kun Thaksin, who, I mean, Thai Rak Thai has been fighting with the Democrats in 2 decades ago, and actually it was going to be a two-party system if it didn't collapse. But Kun Chuan is also, I'm sure is in Kun Thaksin's mind. And then there's this small party, Thai Sang Thai of Kun Ying Sudarat Geyurat.
That's another disaster for Kun Ying.
Yeah.
Suddenly all 6 MPs just left her.
and the MPs are pulled out, and and all 3, General Prawit, Kun Chuan, and Kun Ying Sudarat, they all certain grudge with Kun Thaksin.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So in political maneuvering, keep thinking Machiavellian style, of course, you have to pull out the rug from all these leaders,
right,
and get the troops in. I think Kun Thaksin will be successful in bringing. Well, of course, Kun Thamarat has already announced that he's not going to work for the guy he has been working for, General Prawit, assume, and he's now probably will join the government with 35 MPs. While Kun Prawit said he has 25, and there's an overlapping somewhere there. I heard some province registered both sides, and I know who's behind. So, but
you know that.
Yeah. But then, don't forget that Kun Thamarat also have smaller parties. The one man.
One single.
So I think Kun Thamarat will have that at least 25 to 30 that will come to join the government.
Okay.
Now there are going to be legal problems, Kun Suthichai, because there is no party resolution to say that we will join the government, right?
No.
Yeah, General Prawit is not going to call up the what they call executive committee. Kun Chuan is not going to call up the executive committee. So if the Democrats, Kun Suthichai or Kun Thamarat, or even Kun Thakorn, who works with Kun Ying Sudarat, will join, then there will be no party resolution. So they will be forced to leave, right? They will kick them out.
Yeah, they're waiting for
They're
them.
waiting for that. So if they kick them out legally, they can find a new party, right? Either join Pheu Thai or Kun Thamarat assume that he already set up
Yeah,
a smaller party, a Kla Tham.
Tham.
Dr. Narumon has already been there as now which
Right.
is close to Kun Thamarat. So Kun Thamarat have many options. But to start a government like this,
Mhm.
you know, the coalition partners have their own problems.
Mhm.
Now, except for Kun Anutin, which we know that Kun Nevin Chitchop
Yes.
controls, and you have to give him credit. I mean, Kun Anutin too, because Phum Jai Thai has always been a disciplined.
Yeah, they
Right.
can. Yeah, they
Yeah.
keep the MPs in
In line.
line.
And anything that happens in the party stays in the party. I mean, the Democrats used to be that way, you know.
Right.
If the high criticism in the meetings and things like that, but it never leaked out.
No.
And I think that discipline is now shown in Phum Jai Thai. But surprisingly, and maybe not too surprisingly, including Pheu Thai, 141 MPs, very quiet. Since Kun Thaksin came back and Kun Thaksin has, I think, called the party meeting with the MPs before Kun Sethar was,
Right.
I think all the 141 MPs are now in line.
They're now in line.
They're now in line. Kun Thaksin can control them.
Mhm.
Because if there's factions in the main party,
Yeah,
there
there
will be problems.
are factions. There are
Yeah.
some factions, but they are quiet for now.
Yeah, but to begin a government like this, and then the news will be concentrating on, if not in Pheu Thai, except that they will allocate their cabinet seats, I think, in a way that they present it best to the public. But if the coalition partners have problems, all the news will be with the coalition partners, right? And then it affects the perception of stability for the government itself.
To begin with, if the Thamanat's faction and Democrats join the government, the first battle will be between the two groups over cabinet seats allocation.
Well, that's why I think Kun Thamarat tried to get as close to 40 as possible.
That they don't, so that Kun Thaksin doesn't need the Democrats, right?
So that, yes, and then the same quotas will be allocated to Kun Thamarat's group as allocated to Palang Pracharat because Palang Pracharat have 40 seats, right? So assuming that Kun Thamarat have 30 and General Pravit have 10, which will not go with anywhere and still stay with General Pravit, then Kun Thamarat has to find 5 more, and then that would be enough.
Yeah.
Hence the 35 that was announced today.
But the Democrats will not give up easily. I mean, that faction, the Kun Suthichai, would try very hard to squeeze in.
Yes. They will have a big problem because I think the way they structure the executive committee still very much favor in terms of the numbers of what Kun Chuan Lee Pai still controls. So but still, I mean, if you want to be government, I mean, Kun Chai and Kun Det, the Secretary General is not the type who's going to be opposition, right?
No,
They're actually they're a conservative party.
Yeah, and they want
all their history has been conservative royalists, and they're not going to work with Prachashon.
no way,
No way, right? So
things are not that smooth. I think the new cabinet will not be formed easily, especially when they have to really double check
yes,
backgrounds. Background checking will get very detailed, and
which is good, right, Kun Suthichai? I mean, the vetting system, in Western democracy,
yes,
is very good. The media can join. I mean,
The vetting, the
Yeah,
vetting.
yeah. I mean, you have to vet your candidates. They interview you like hell, whether you
Yeah.
it's the day you were born. I mean, did you take drugs in school? And
Yeah.
you remember Clinton has to admit that he used to smoke weed.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
the
But
end.
in a good nature, right?
Yeah, it was.
But I mean, American politicians, even to this day, is getting vetted, and a lot some of the congressmen has to leave their seats, and even senators have to resign, because the news come out later. But if it appears during the vetting process, for example, you have post nude in your Twitter or Facebook. I mean, that's one guy who did that. I remember reading the news, and of course he has to be dropped.
Yeah, and migrant worker made in your home.
Yeah. And indecent exposure and
Isn't in
or
this exposure.
child molester or
No,
groping your secretary and things like that. I mean, that was a Supreme Court nominee who was
uh,
accused of, yeah. So
that,
so I mean, in a way, the the our own Supreme Court have set a standard, which if used right, it
yeah.
could be a tool for politicians, especially now and in the future, to say that, oh, sorry, I mean, if you're a coalition partner, if you send this guy, I think there are going to be legal problems questioning him, or the public will question him. Why don't you propose another name?
Yeah.
And I think Kun Paetongtarn will have to work through that motion.
It's
Uh,
going to take longer to form the cabinet.
it takes longer, and it's gonna affect. I mean, even within Pheu Thai, as I say, now they're in line because Kun Thaksin can control their what you call activities, and basically support them in a lot of things. But if one of the groups lost the cabinet seat, I mean, it's still the same, 9-1 or 10-1, or even some group more powerful, 7-1. If you 14, you have to get one minister or one plus deputy minister. Now, if you take out that group, but Kun Thaksin has been known to be able to stick another group in, right?
Yeah, he's always been. He's
Yeah,
very
yeah,
good at
yeah.
that. He
But
played the game very well. Mhm.
but with the election, it's not the same condition in Thai. You basically have the Democrats, and you know where their strengths and weaknesses are. Next election, Kun Thaksin and Kun Paetongtarn, if they survive this ordeal to the next election, they have to face ประชาชน on one side, right? And as a owner of the mantle of democracy, liberal democracy,
Yeah.
because Pheu Thai is not that anymore. And then they have to face Phumjai Thai, who is very, very efficient and effective in winning the district at the constituency level MPs.
Yeah.
I mean, they get 71, only 3 partyless MP, but
Right. Most of them are
yeah.
constituted.
So I think if they can work in this momentum and not rush themselves, and Kun Anutin is very smart to do, I think you can expect Phumjai Thai to have 100 plus next time, and probably at the expense of Pheu Thai,
Wow.
right?
That's not to make personal friendship between Thaksin and Anutin too smooth.
No, not. But now the interests coincide,
Yeah.
right? But at election time and leading towards election time, if Kun Anutin can maintain interior minister,
Yeah, he has a very strong influence around.
actually I think my own instinct, he has enough leverage even to ask the transport minister back. But he didn't do it. I don't think he's going to do it. But actually he does, because if the rumors are true, they are the ones who now controlling the Senate.
Yeah. So
Right? So I mean, Phumjai Thai has more leverage politically
Mhm.
and more stronger than Pheu Thai right now at the moment. And Kun Anutin is playing coy and going with the game, waiting for his time.
Nice guy image is
Uh-huh. He has, if there are 3 more years, don't forget he has 3 more years to appoint governors around the country.
all the way down to district officer.
Yes. He already appointed a permanent secretary who will last 7 more years.
Yeah.
Smart of him, right?
Right.
So he can wait his time.
Okay. We are great analysis.
Not too much about what we can talk behind the scenes, but not in.
No. So many things we can talk behind the scenes, not on the record, because Thai politics is full of rumors.
If I may have the one last word, I think
Okay.
people asked me this earlier this evening whether she will survive 3 years. And I think it's very hard to predict, but this next 6 months will be critical, not only for her, but for the whole country. I mean, if this 6 months failed, and Pheu Thai and Kun Thaksin go back to the same ordeal he faces when the coup happened, and what Kun Yingluck faced before the coup happened, that situation is very bad for the country and the economy.
It is.
And the odds of them solving or be able to restructure the economy without using populist policies.
6 months, no way. No. But at least in the first 6 months, there should be signs. Should be positive.
At least there should be signs of real restructuring for the real sector. But if they use populist policies and giving handouts only, then Kun Suthichai will have to. I have to reopen my thesaurus and dictionary to be able to answer your questions in English because there are going to be so much words to use in an economic crisis.
I know it's going to be
which
bad.
we don't want to find.
No. So we hope that Kun Thaksin can manage and really understand, people's emotions, feelings about, what he's doing too.
Yes. And then balance out those feelings because Kun Paetongtarn has to be her own woman and prime minister. And Kun Thaksin, if he interferes too much, then his political enemies will rise.
Certainly.
They have already prepared everything, but will rise faster. And then he'll face a lot of court cases. Because if Kun Paetongtarn doesn't have the concentration or the right staff to work on through all these documents and she signs something or make a wrong decision, and I also have to warn them of, make a note that if they are accused again of any conflict of interest, then the downfall of Paetongtarn government will come very soon, which will hurt Thai democracy, and of course delay the economic restructuring that need to be done.
I know. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much ครับคุณสุทธิชัย Thank you everyone
ครับ ขอบคุณทุกท่านที่ติดตามสุทธิชัยไลฟ์ครับ ล่าสุดนี่มีคนกด subscribe กดกระดิ่ง 1.2 ล้านท่านแล้วครับ ตัวเลขเพิ่มขึ้นไปเรื่อยๆ และต้องขอบคุณเป็นพิเศษสำหรับผู้ที่กด Super Stickers Super Chat เพื่อให้กำลังใจกับ